Now, it's time for the Anchormen podcast with Matt Gates and Dan Ball.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday, another edition of the Anchormen podcast. Dan Ball here alongside one of the other Anchormen here at the OAN Network, Riley Lewis. What up, Ry?
Nothing much. Just enjoying the summer.
Yeah.
This time of year.
Yeah.
Missed the fair already that was in town, but it's almost horse racing
Oh, the
season
big
now,
San Diego County Fair at the Del Mar Racetrack.
where the turf meets the surf. That's right.
Oh, that's their catchphrase.
Well, for the horse races actually now.
Where the
too.
turf meets the surf.
Mm-hmm.
You would know that. You grew up right up the street, right?
Yes,
in
sir.
Encinitas? Is that where you grew up? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Local Cali boy. All right, before we get to our guest tonight, because we're going to get to him quickly. He's been on the line waiting. Let's catch up real quick with you. Writing new music? Got a girl? What's shaking with the single Anchorman Riley Lewis?
Just working, having fun, going to the beach a lot, playing a lot of music, just trying to enjoy every moment, you know?
Going to the beach with any ladies? You avoided that question, Riley. You're the only single guy here.
All right. Well, you know, there's might be something on that front. Something
There might be.
early stages, I think. Early
See,
stages.
Matt and I and the other Anchormen here can't really talk about this. We're not single anymore.
Well, I just don't want to put too much pressure on it. But yeah, there's been some hangouts and. A couple
Does she
dates
watch
here
the
and there.
show?
I don't know. I think so. I
Does
hope
she watch your talk show or this podcast?
talk show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's she think of your talk show? Does she like it?
I think so. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard good things, but I don't know if she's just telling me that because there's something here, or if it's I don't know. I'm just gonna take her at her word because she says good things whenever I ask.
She's just rubbing you the right way right now.
Yeah. Well.
She's stroking your ego.
All right.
You like my puns today?
I do.
I'm
That's
feeling a
good
little
one.
sassy. I traded up the whiskey today and I got an energy drink, so I think that's why I'm going to be a little
I don't
more.
think you need energy drinks.
You don't think I do?
No.
Whiskey, tango, foxtrot. Y'all know what that means, right? Anywho, what's going on in the world of One America News in our coverage this week? We've got a lot of crazy, wild headlines, a lot of folks
Yes.
on the right and conservatives and Republicans battling each other, a lot of keyboard warriors.
A lot of information online that is anonymously sourced coming
Yeah.
from influencers, which
I feel like there's
I
a lot
don't
of
know what to think
woke
about that.
crap going on, and this time it's not just coming from the left.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm seeing woke righties, and I'm not liking it. It's kind of pissing me off.
any are these influencers or who are we just all of it?
Well, see, here's the thing. I've said this since I started this show 5 years ago next month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like getting in the weeds and talking folks in the MAGA or America First movement because I think it detracts from the real enemy out there,
Agreed.
which is the radical liberal left and their agenda, which ruins my beautiful country I served. And so I have stayed out of that fray for years, and I know you do as well.
Completely.
I don't do it online. I don't do it on the talk show. I haven't done it on this podcast. But there's a few people who, yeah, I'm getting a little sick and tired of.
Well, one thing I think we've seen this week, Democrats.
Nick Fuentes.
I'll give him
Oh,
this.
did I say a name?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
Uh,
What? Go ahead.
well,
Right, sorry,
huh?
Riley.
No, but Democrats, they keep their infighting behind closed doors. You know, they united front as far as the public is concerned. They do all their fighting behind the scenes.
Yeah. Which sucks because then you really don't know
Yes.
who they are, what they believe in.
Completely.
Because they're all fake and phony. Look at Gavin Newsom. This guy flip-flops more than a fish dying on the beach. I mean, he is a piece of trash, right? And Republicans, I think, air the dirty laundry because they feel like, well, that's better for the people, right? It's more transparent. We're out front. We're telling you what's up. I don't agree with that guy, like Nick Fuentes. I think he's a piece of trash. Whatever. I'm giving you straight up.
Yeah.
This guy's a psycho.
Yes.
Whatever. And so I never jump in when I've disagreed with a lot of the influencers, other talk show hosts, big famous podcasters with millions of followers. I just stay out of it, right? I let them give them the rope and people will hang themselves. That's what I was always taught back in the day, right? So just let them expose who they are and talk their trash, and people eventually will come around and figure it out. But then you get some of these grifters where I'm just getting so damn fed up. And look, my guy's in the White House. We won last November.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. There's a lot of great things happening. We may not be getting everything we want, but can we all just pump the brakes for a second?
Agreed.
I'm going to say one thing, and then I'll give it to you, and then we'll get to our guest tonight.
Okay.
Can you imagine the alternative? President Kamala Harris. I'm done. Riley?
Well, that's the thing. I think we've forgotten how low we were. I mean, we hit bottom with Joe Biden. That was the worst I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Mass censorship, mass illegal immigration, wars all over the place, lawfare schemes and corruption out the wazoo at the DOJ and all these three-letter alphabet agencies. And it's like we forgot how bad things were. So the compare and contrast, it's been 6 months, and we have
Only 6 months.
only 6 months, and think of all the progress and headway that we've made. And this is with people undermining the president. So just trust. That's my default, is just I trust in this administration. I've seen this president deliver like nobody else in my whole lifetime.
I know.
And I know he's doing it again.
And that's why I wish more on our side this week. And I know, and I'm going to mention that dirty word everybody was talking about, that sick pervert that maybe killed himself, maybe didn't, whatever.
Right.
I'm just going to leave it like my acronym here, right? WTF, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I can't really say my new acronym because it's TIT, but trust in Trump. That's my acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say
conveniently
it
abbreviated. Sure.
conveniently abbreviated. Should we get to our guest?
Yes, please.
Speaking of psycho Democrats, and no, that's not our next guest. I'm leading up to him. Speaking of the radical liberal left who have been destroying this nation, trying to censor us, take away our freedoms, make us a socialist Marxist country, this gentleman, a few years back, noticed how radical and insane the party he once belonged to was at that time, and decided to walk away. But then decided it's not just good enough if I do it personally. He was like, I need to get millions of my fellow Democrats to walk away with me. He started a movement. He paid a big price on J6, even though he wasn't doing anything. He was on the other side of the freaking building from where all the people were with the scaffolding and everything. Yet they tried to throw him in prison. He almost lost it all. He's had to rebuild his entire movement. And I think he's coming back bigger, better, and stronger than ever because he has a great message. He has a great way of getting his message out there. And you can't, once you talk to the guy, you can't not love him. He's a good person, a good human being, and he's doing a great service for the America First movement by talking to independents and liberals, Democrats especially, in the tone and manner he does, coming from a position of, I used to be there, I was you.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yes.
I've always been this conservative freaking guy, so I can't come at a Democrat and go, hey, let me, no. They'd be like, screw you, F you. But this guy can. And so without further ado, can we bring my friend on? Do we get a drum roll? Brandon Straka, founder of the Walk Away Movement campaign. We love him. He's bigger, badder, and back. What's up, Brand?
Hey, it's good to be with you guys. Thank you. That was a beautiful intro. Thank you very much. Better than I deserve.
Could I start it off just by saying thank you? Actually, oh, and it's nice to meet you, of course.
You know met Straka?
Not like this. Not like this. Only seen you around, been a big fan for a long time. But to Dan's point, I've been, I think, MAGA my whole life. I just didn't realize I was MAGA. And I assumed everybody was too. Democrats, Republicans, I thought we were all on the same page about that. Just regardless. So thank you for meeting people where they are and helping to awaken people, because that's what we're seeing in this country.
Well, Riley, you're not wrong. Democrats 30, 40 years ago used to be on the same page of putting our country first. Okay. They've deteriorated over the last decade or so, probably 2 decades. But anyway, we'll let Brandon tell us how his old party has deteriorated. So let's begin with the questions in the hot seat for you. You ready, Brand? This is way different than the talk shows where you come on for 5-6 minutes and we've got a specific thing we're talking about. We just want to spend an hour with you and learn about Brandon Straka. So first of all, you got to tell us where you're born, growing up, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, college, and then we'll get into your politics and then how you broke free from the radical left.
Cool. Let's do it. All right. So I'm Brandon Straka. I grew up in a little town called O'Neill, Nebraska. Ooh. It's in northeast Nebraska, a really tiny town, about 3,200 people. My graduating class from high school was 18 people. I was one of them. That's the truth. My dad is a cattle rancher. He's actually retired now, but he was a cattle rancher up until about a year or two ago. And my mom kind of helped him throughout the years with his cattle business. So I grew up in a very conservative family, very kind of humble beginnings. I was the black sheep of the family as the liberal of my family, the only liberal in my family. I'm the youngest of, I have a biological brother who's 3.5 years older than me. And then my parents also took in 2 of my cousins and raised them. So they were kind of raised as my siblings. So they were all older than me. I was the youngest of the 4.
Yeah, good Midwest values. That's what Midwest folks do, Brand. Because you know I have a similar background. That's what they do. Family needs help, you take them in. Go ahead. Love it.
Well, no, it's okay. You know, the family I come from, it's honestly very crazy. My mother is one of 10 kids, and her dad died when she was 5. So my grandmother had to raise 10 children by herself. She was a farm wife and a school teacher, like back in the days where you like taught school in like a little schoolhouse in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And so my grandmother had to figure out how to take care of 10 kids on her own. So one of them, my aunt, one of the oldest aunts I have, she left early. And when she was like 17 years old, she wanted to get out of the house. So she got married and ended up marrying this guy who was very abusive and terrible. And they had like 6 kids together. So he ended up leaving her, and she took it very, very badly. So the kids got split up, and my parents took 2 of them. But yeah, it's, you know, so it's, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's very kind of Midwestern family thing, but it's also, you know, it's crazy family stuff.
Well, everybody's got that, right? Everybody's got that. All right, so again, I didn't know that, right? I did not know, even though Brandon and I have been buddies now about 4 years. We've been at speaking engagements together. He's been on my show. We've hung out, the wife and I with him. I didn't know you were a Nebraska boy because I just know New York, which we'll get to in a second, right? On how you're trying to help save New York from a psychopath not becoming the mayor. We'll get there in a half hour or so. A Marxist.
Sounds good.
So in Nebraska, you're the black sheep of the family because you were liberal in a small Nebraska town. I can relate. My town had 4,000 people in Northwest Ohio. So get us up to that point of you breaking out, branching out, leaving liberal Brandon, leaving little Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, so I always knew early on, very young, I kind of caught like the acting bug and like the performer bug. And so I knew I wanted to, I don't know how I knew, but I just knew I wanted to move to New York City after I graduated from high school. And I wanted to live an artist's life. That was really important to me. I didn't know if I was going to be a singer or an actor, but I'd done a lot of that. I just knew I wanted to kind of go to New York and, you know, be wild and free and find my path and live my life. So graduated from high school, moved to New York City, started doing some acting and singing and stuff like that, like off-Broadway shows, a little bit of television. I did a few episodes of a few soap operas like As the World Turns and some other stuff that filmed in New York.
I didn't know that.
But it's the thing. As the world turns.
I can see you on that soap opera. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just imagining, I'm looking at you going, okay, because my grandma kind of raised me, and I grew up watching when I got home from school, right, or if I was sick there, Young and the Restless, right, General Hospital, as were all these old soaps my grandma watched, so I'm totally relating here now. Go ahead, Brian. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, the ones my family used to watch The Bold and the Beautiful, and I always liked Days of Our Lives, but I never did either of those shows.
You know, I ran for Congress against the nasty Sheila from Bold and Beautiful.
What?
Yeah, I think her name's Kimberlyn.
Yeah, Kimberlyn Brown. She's an actress called Sheila. For all the ladies watching the podcast, I know Sheila. Yeah, Kimberlyn Brown. Her and I ran in the primary for Mary Bono's old seat in 2018 up in the Palm Springs, Coachella Valley area.
Wow.
Yeah, soap actress. She beat me.
Yeah,
anyway, keep going.
No, it's okay. She played a real psychopath on that
Psycho
show. I don't
Sheila.
know how you. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about her in real life, but she was a real psycho on the show. On that,
We'll talk offline.
Okay, all right, no problem. So then I'd say the next thing is that you know, I'm living in New York City, and kind of like slowly, you know, making some progress, doing acting, singing stuff, but I got really, really into drinking and drugs. And so for many years in my early 20s, I was a pretty big drinker, but I got very, very into cocaine. And that went on for a long time. So like I was, so ultimately I got sober when I was, God, I don't know, in my 30s. I've been sober now for over 10 years. So
good for you, brother.
That very much kind of sidetracked me. I am assuming this is the kind of show where we just talk about everything.
It's a podcast. You can say whatever the hell you want on this. Is what's great. It's not the talk show. We're not limited to too much time because we get a whole hour. And yeah, it's supposed to be more of an in-depth with the guest. And
Totally.
You just go anywhere you want to go, Brand.
Well, I feel like it's important to talk about because most people know that I'm sober because I've been very open about that since I came into the public eye in politics. But it's a good topic to talk about because, there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with addiction issues. And
Yes.
I know that before I got sober, like I knew that I needed to get sober for years before I got sober. And I truly believed I could not do it. Like I thought that I would just die of a cocaine overdose, as a young guy, and that would be the end
How'd
of
you
it.
do
And
it? You know what? Because we had Tom McDonald on a couple of weeks back, and Tom, the rapper, right? Came over to our side, conservative guy. He had the same issue. He was like, I run away from home, but he left home to go become a recording artist. He was doing some wrestling somewhere up in Canada where he grew up. I don't know if it was, where did he tell us? Not Quebec, but somewhere anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't Vancouver.
And he got into, might have been Vancouver, pills and booze and whatever. And literally, he said he almost died one day. He wrote a note and laid it on his chest. He had 911 on the phone and thought, if I feel like I'm going to die, I'm going to hit 911. Hopefully they'll get here in time. And when he came through that night and didn't die, the next day he went, that's it. Called his folks. Wow. I got to come back home. He was 20 something. I got to sober up. He didn't go to a clinic. It hit him overnight. He went home. It took him 10 months. He stayed in the house, locked himself away, sobered up, went through the shakes, the chills, and all the stuff. And then in that time also refound God, and then came down to California to make his dreams come true with about $700 in his pocket. And look at him now. He said 9 years later, he's made millions, independent recording artist, but he beat the addiction. And so I think this is a great part of where we get more time on this style of show. Tell the viewers how you beat it, because there's most likely somebody watching that's dealing with an addiction. They're going, I'm never going to be able to beat this.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, and that's really thanks for sharing. I didn't know that about Tom McDonald. I'm gonna have to look into that more. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I knew for years that this was really, really, really bad, and I mean really bad. And there were many, many, many nights for years where like I was doing so much that like my nose would be bleeding, and sometimes I would be vomiting, but I would keep doing it. And and I would go on these like binges that would last 12, 15 hours, and of like consistently using throughout that time. And then I know towards the very end before I got sober, oh my God, it like I was like on this constant cycle of trying to kind of take myself up and down and up and down and up and down. So there was a while where I had a bottle of whiskey in my bathroom under my sink and a bottle of sleeping pills, and I'd be sitting there snorting lines, chugging whiskey, taking sleeping pills,
oh my goodness,
and then and also like vomiting and stuff. And it was so bad. It was so bad. But I just was like, I can't stop doing it, because I would always be like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then literally like 2 days might pass or 3 days might pass, and then I would just call my dealer again and start it all over. So I remember it was Christmas of probably 2015, I'm going to say. And I went back to Nebraska to see my family. And when I was there, I ran into this guy. His name is Ryan. And I knew him from back when I was like 19, 20 years old. And back when I lived, because I lived in Nebraska for a couple of years before I moved to New York. And when I knew him, he was a junkie, like a crystal meth addict and a cocaine addict and all this other stuff. But when I saw him around Christmas of 2015, like he looked amazing. He looked really healthy. He looked really fit. He was like muscular. And I was like, dude, you look amazing. What's going on? And he said, well, I've been sober for 8 years. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And so we just started talking, and I said, look, I was like, I really, really, really think I need to get sober too. But I was like, I don't know how to do it, and I don't think I can do it. And he was like, well, I did. You can. Like anyone can, and he started just kind of like coaching me through. He's like, I really think that you should start going to AA. He was like, just find meetings, get in the program, start meeting other people. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, oh, that sounds awful. And I was going through all the same stuff that anybody who's about to get sober, newly getting sober goes through. Like you think that everything that's great about you is tied to using. You know, you're like, if I stop using, I'm not going to be fun anymore.
Right.
I'm
not cool.
I'm not going to be funny. I'm not going to be cool. You know, everything that's great about my personality is because I get higher, whatever. So then I'm just, you know, you have that identity crisis and stuff. But I did what he told me to do, which was after I got back from Christmas, I went to a meeting. I did it. For about 2 weeks, I went to meetings almost every night, and I would stay for like 5 minutes and I would leave. So I'd go to the meeting, I'd show up. I was like, oh, this is so stupid. And then I'd leave and I would go straight to the bar. So for like 2 weeks, I'd stay for 5 minutes, I'd leave, and then I'd go to the bar down the block, and I'd be like, well, I went to the meeting. It's progress, you know? But then after 2 weeks, I don't know, maybe just the consistency of showing up and going and kind of it maybe a little bit of a habit was sparked. But, you know, I started staying through the whole meeting, listening to what people had to say. And then after a couple of weeks, so it's January 18th. It would have been, I guess, 2016. I'm not doing my math right now. Well, I've been sober for over 10 years, so whatever that is.
Okay, so 15, it would have been January 15.
Yeah, January
right?
2015.
Yeah, so you've been sober 10 and a half years. Congrats, brother. That's awesome.
Yeah, 10 and a half years. I took my last drink. I had a couple of glasses of red wine and put it down, and I was like, that's it. I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done.
No more Coke, no more booze, no more pills. Can you, I always wonder this, and let me, I always wonder if this is insensitive, but I've got people in the family and others that have been alcoholics. Never had any big, huge drug addicts in the family, but a lot of alcoholics. My dad's side of the family is from the South. We grew up in Ohio in the North. They're there because half the family's hillbillies. So, I mean, it was nothing to have the ball jars of moonshine under the kitchen sink all the time.
Wow.
And you're 12, 13, 14, somebody picks it up and chugs it. Nobody says a word. Anyway,
wow.
My point to that is, I always feel weird about asking this question, but can you today now have a drink and be okay with it, or do you cannot touch it at all?
Well, I mean, I haven't had a drink
I just wonder, because I know people that have quit and they can still, some, they weren't pill addicts or other things. I know sometimes hardcore drugs and pills, that's hard. If you take anything that's addictive, you can't touch anything ever again. But for alcoholics, sometimes that have been sober 10, 20, 30 years, I know a couple of them from my own family now that they can go out, have a meal, and have a beer or a glass of wine, maybe even two, that's it, stop, and they're fine because they've had so many years of sobriety, but it was alcohol only. They weren't doing the hardcore drugs and the pills. Right. From what I understand, that's the stuff, and you can speak to this, I can't, that's the stuff that's so hard to kick that once you kick it, you don't want to go back down that road, so you don't touch anything that's got an addictive whatever to it, correct?
I would put myself in the latter category. So it's funny, I was actually just having this conversation with my mom, who also quit drinking 5 years ago. So she's sober now too. But I was saying, I said, do you think you're an alcoholic? And she's like, I don't know. You know, and we were kind of talking about that. And I said, you know, I don't know if I am either. And I was like, I'm not sure. But I said, to me, it's just sort of easier to refer to myself that way. I don't think there's any shame in calling myself an addict or an alcoholic. So also, when I made the decision to get sober, everything was sort of intertwined, interconnected. So like if I went out and I had literally like 2 or 3 sips of alcohol, my brain was like, you need to call the Coke dealer. You need to call the Coke dealer. You know, so
the minute you got that little buzz, you were, now I got to go to the next. I need 100% buzz, not this little 1%. Okay, so let me jump forward. You're talking January of 2015. Didn't a guy come down an escalator in later 2015? So now I'm going to get into your new world here. As you see, I'm trying to segue. Brandon gets sober. Brandon realizes liberals are nuts. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Take us to 2015. You get sober, and let's start going from 15 into 16, 17, when you start figuring out you need to walk away. Because you weren't political at all. So how did you get political on the left even to decide I need to walk away from that side?
Yeah. Well, okay. So first of all, I know you're making a joke, but actually there really, I think, is a direct connection between my sobriety and walking away from the political left.
It was a joke, but serious. Yes. I'm being
really though, because
I think a lot of them are nuts.
Well, So I started. I did get into AA, and for years I went on like a daily basis. I had a sponsor. I worked the steps, and what that taught me was personal responsibility, accountability, cause and effect, and things. Yeah, and I started to realize that all of the things in my life that were broken and wrong and unsatisfying and all these things were my fault. And up until that point, I had been kind of blaming everybody else for everything that was wrong or broken in my life.
What's that sound like in politics today? Which party likes to blame other people and never take self-responsibility and then want government to fix it? What side is that again? Go ahead, Brand.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, and also, I mean, which party is about, hard work and that if you want something, you earn it and you work for it and and meritocracy and, all of those things.
Amen.
So I started to learn those things, and I started again, like kind of embracing the cause and effect of my own life and my own actions. And another thing before we move on is making amends. That's a huge part of this too, is,
all the
taking accountability.
When you were wasted, right? You got to go do that. You did that. A lot of people don't go back and do that. That's a great point. Elaborate on that for the folks watching that might have an addiction. If they get sober, you got to go back and clean some mess up.
That's right. Yeah, it's about going back and trying to make amends for the harm that you caused in other people's lives, and the disruption and all of those things. And so, there's a lot of humility, I think, that you learn in that. But also, one of the greatest things I learned in sobriety, which is, they don't even really talk about this that much, but is it made me so much more comfortable dealing with other people. Like, I learned how to kind of sit in my own skin and remember I was saying before, will I be boring? Will I be whatever? Well, it turns out that all the things I liked about myself were still there, even when I got sober. But I no longer felt uncomfortable in my own shoes, like being around other people. I felt, like a person who had a right to be sitting where I was sitting and to be where I was, and that I didn't need to like run out of the room or feel uncomfortable, things like that. And then if we take it through to when, around the time Donald Trump's running for office, I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and I was still a liberal.
I'm just kidding.
What's that? I didn't get. What did you say?
Blasphemy. No, keep going.
Yeah, right. No, it's absolutely blasphemy.
We forgive you, Brand. You didn't know yet. We forgive you.
Yeah, but I was feeling pushed away by liberals, in the political left. A lot of it was like kind of cultural stuff. When the Supreme Court decided that marriage equality was the law of the land and the gay people could get married, I felt like that was a finish line. I felt like, okay, this struggle has kind of come to an end. And I've always believed you can't legislate tolerance. I think that people have the right to demand that they have the same rights as other people, but you can't demand that other people will love it or love
accept
you
it and
or
go with it, or exactly. I left that part out about you, Brandon. We didn't get to the part of coming out or anything in your life, but again, I always love bragging Brandon up, because it can't be that easy being an openly gay man in the conservative movement, because not everybody in the MAGA world approves of gay marriage and gay couples and everything else. And I've always believed, and this is me, you can shit talk me all you want, folks, live and let live. It's America. Okay, so if you're a Christian and you're saying, you can't promote homosexuality and this, that, and the other thing, and it's great, you can say that. It's America.
Yeah.
Brandon also has the right to say whatever the hell he wants about you.
Amen.
And he has a right to live and get married now. It's law of the land. And if you don't like it, well then elect different leaders and see if they'll make a constitutional change, because now it's the law of the land. The Supreme Court already ruled. So guess what? He's my friend. I've got friends in the gay community. So what? Sue me for it.
Amen.
And we have a lot of folks in the America First MAGA movement that are in the gay community. And they're not the radical left-wing LGBTQ 123 plus ABC. I don't even know what these letters stand anymore, because they've been hijacked. And Brandon speaks to this a lot on my show, is that the movement of gay men, lesbian women, that just wanted fair rights to be able to get married. And again, I know Christians are like, that goes against the Bible, man and woman. Great, that's your opinion. It might still be my opinion, but I'm not going to tell them they cannot, because now it's the law of the land. It was voted on by the people, meaning we put folks in charge that made it law of the land. So if you don't like it, well, tough. That's kind of how I look at stuff, right?
Yep.
But there's a lot of amazing people who are out there who have fought hard for Donald Trump, who have fought to keep this country first. And just because you don't like who they're sleeping with, you think they're a horrible abomination. And that drives me nuts because you don't know this guy from Adam. I do. I think he's a great guy. Do I care that he likes men? He doesn't flirt with me or hit on me, so I don't care.
I mean, the truth is, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. If you're a good person,
Watch it now. Christians are going to attack you.
Okay, well,
And you and I are both Christians, but you watch what'll happen.
That's fair, and I stand by it. Respectfully, the only thing that I think really matters at the end of the day is just being a good person and treating people the way you want to be treated. The golden rule.
And if you're an American,
yes,
be pro-American.
I firmly
And
believe
Brandon Straka is, and we're going to get to how he is very pro-American by creating a massive movement that got millions of Democrats to walk the hell away from a psycho party.
Completely.
Now, if he was a straight guy, people would be like, yay, amazing. But some in our movement are like, because he's a gay man.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's asinine.
It's just, I can't speak for anyone else but myself, but it feels shallow, respectfully.
It is.
Very shallow and very judgmental. And so I don't agree with that. I don't support that.
I know I'll take heat for it, but Brandon, you know me, I don't give a Anyway.
Anytime you take a stand in this life, you'll take heat for it. But always stand on principle.
Look at Trump.
If you stand alone.
You're never going to be able to appease 100% of the people. You'll be lucky if you can get 50.1. Okay? So I'm sure I just pissed off 49.9, whatever. But so be it. Change the channel. Okay, so you screwed up and voted for Hillary, but you're sober. So you're starting to see the error of your ways. How is that? Is it because you realize that the Russia hoax was BS way back then, or what? Get us to that crux, that turning point where you're like, I got to get out of this damn party.
No, it was so two things happened to me after Trump got elected. One, I became really confused about how the media that I trusted had gotten it so wrong. You know, we're talking about CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, all the major left-wing outlets. You
started seeing through the fake news.
Well, they guaranteed me, that she was going to win in a landslide, and this was going to be like one of the greatest political upsets in American history. That he had a 3% chance of winning.
The polls, Brandon, the polls.
The other thing was that I, grew up in small town Nebraska, and I knew that there were going to be a lot of people in the middle of the country that would vote for Trump. But I thought it was going to be such a small number of people that she would win in a landslide. And so I didn't think, I was like, who cares? Let the stupid idiots vote for him who are going to vote for him. This is going to be such a massive upset, whatever. But then when he won, I was like, wait, whoa, why did all these people vote for him? Because, he's Hitler and a racist and a bigot and all this stuff. So I was kind of, acting out, freaking out. And the biggest pivotal moment for me was in January of 2017, right around the time he was about to take office.
Yep.
I posted on Facebook that I would never be able to understand how anyone could vote for a man who was capable of mocking a reporter's disability in front of a cheering crowd. And that is when a woman named Diane, who babysat me when I was a baby, staunch Christian conservative, had many fights with her over the years on Facebook, but she reached out to me privately. And she said, look, I'm not trying to start another fight with you. I'm just asking, have you seen this? And she sent me a link to a video entitled Debunking that Trump Mocked the Disabled Reporter.
I love it. Just like the very fine people a year later. Anyway,
I watched this video. That's right, but that happened later. Yeah, that happened later.
There was so many debunked with Trump. Yeah, keep going.
That was the first one I saw in real time was Charlottesville, because that happened right after I'd walked away. But
yeah, because you watched 37 seconds later when he clarified the fine people were the people that weren't the idiots in the khakis with the torches. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but in addition to that, I mean, look, this is another topic for another day, but I would argue that Charlottesville was also probably not at all what the media wanted us to believe that it was. I don't think it was just a bunch of Nazis marching around and a bunch of really good anti-fascist people on the left who were trying to... Well, I also think that it was more than likely the people on the left who incited violence, and I think that there's a lot more to that young girl who got hit by the car than just some angry Nazi ran her over with her car. I don't believe that that's what happened at all. But anyway, another topic for another day.
He's awake now. He's been awake since 17.
He does his homework.
When I watched the Debunking the Disabled Reporter video, I saw very clearly for the first time that the media that I trusted was capable of being dishonest, duplicitous, manipulative, lying, making me believe something happened that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so when I realized that, then I was like, whoa, how often is this happening and why and what's going on?
Daily.
So I went on this really deep dive of research for the next couple of months. I became obsessed with reading, researching, watching videos, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on with the media. Never in a million years, and I mean this, did I think that I would come out the other side of that research being okay with Trump or his supporters, or I imagined I would always hate Donald Trump, always think he was terrible. I just thought, like, is the media manipulating things? Well, when I did my deep dive, what I came to realize at the end of it was that Donald Trump was not my enemy, but the media that I'd been trusting my entire life was my enemy. That was the problem. And that he was
told us all since 15, fake news, and everybody made fun of him. I've been in it 33 years. It's the freaking fake news. Why do you think I'm at OAN and not a affiliate?
Yeah.
Fake.
That's right.
I can't say that word, news.
No, that's right. But so by March of 2017, only 2 months after I started my journey of research, I left the Democratic Party. So I left the Democratic Party in March of 2017, only 2 months after I started my journey. And then over the course of the next year, I started speaking out on social media about what I was thinking and feeling and what I had learned. And I started to lose all my friends. I started to lose family members. I stopped getting invited to things. I stopped getting invited to parties, all this stuff. And so it really turned my world upside down. I mean, it was a very, very disruptive experience in my life. By the end of 2017, I had lost more than 90% of my friends. Whoa. And
what did the conservative family, though, back home in Nebraska think of the Brandon now changing, clean, sober, leaving the Democrat Party, but supporting a guy that even a lot of Republicans back then didn't like and support? Because a lot of good old-fashioned Republicans, notice I'm not saying conservatives, because I always call myself a conservative, not a Republican, because I've had issues with both parties for decades. So my whole thing is, what did they think about you going all in on Trump? Because back then, there was a lot of Christian, right-wing Republicans who went, not this 2 or 3 time divorced former Democrat, New York playboy scumbag that says bad words. I'm a good Christian from Nebraska on the farm. I'm not voting for him. There was a lot of folks like that. I know. I had them in my family and friend circle in Ohio, in California, in the places I've lived that were like, because I was on board since 15. They're like, how can you be for Trump, Dan? He's disgusting. I'm like, have you seen the a-holes we've elected the last 30, 40 years? Seriously, I'm giving this guy a try. And I've been Team Trump since 15, since the escalator ride, baby. And I ain't moving.
Well, they loved it. I mean, my family members who support Trump, like my parents are Trump supporters. They absolutely loved it. I think they were really proud of me especially for figuring it out on my own. Which has kind of been the story of my life. I got sober on my own. I kind of, I'm just kind of like a guy walking my path, figuring out my own stuff in my own time. But I think they were really happy about it. And certainly it made it a lot easier for us to get along because I was really angry at them, especially after Trump got elected. There was a period of time where I was like, I'm never going back to Nebraska again. I'm going to punish every person who voted for Trump. And
now look at you today.
Yeah.
Now you're leading the sheep away and to the promised land of MAGA.
Brandon, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
You said it was disruptive, this whole period of your life. Was it also liberating, though? Because it's a betrayal when you realize that the media institutions you grew up watching, that you've entrusted in, have been deceiving you and manipulating you. But at the same time, it's like, now you know who they are for what they are, and you know where to go, and it's like they don't have this power over you anymore, right? You can figure out, you realize, wait a minute, I have to do my own homework, my own research, and you start thinking in a much different way. It changes everything. So I think, I'm just guessing, I'd like to ask, it was disruptive, but was it also for you just kind of liberating, like a breath of fresh air? Like, wow, I realize I've been fooled, and I'm never going to go back to that.
I would say not only was it liberating, and yes, the answer is yes, extremely liberating. I would use the word exhilarating. Wow. I was exhilarated throughout 2017, as much as like I was losing my friends and it was really sad and disruptive and all that stuff. Like, there's something when you reach this point in your life and like the veil is lifted and you start to go like, oh my God, so much of what I thought I knew and so much of what I thought I believed was not true. It was never true.
Right.
Like you just wanted, like, you want to go back to you want to go back to kindergarten.
To not knowing.
And
I
be
know,
like,
you know what my wife says, and Brand knows my wife well. She's like, I wish I didn't know all this that I know now. Because I dragged Peyton, Brand loves my wife. They probably get along better than we do some days.
I love Peyton.
Thank you, brother.
She is the best.
She yells at me, by the way, because she's like, you dragged me into this freaking media world 5 years ago, and I was happy not knowing all this crap. Now I know it, and I can't stand that I know it. I'm like, but babe, would you rather be a sheeple and think that CNN and MSNBC tells you the truth and think that those idiots in suits and pantsuits in D.C. on both sides of the aisle tell us the truth all the time? Do you want to keep living that life? She's like, well, no. I'm like, well, then sorry, I exposed the truth to you. You should be glad and thanking your husband.
Well, there's pros and cons to both.
I know, because it can be depressing, as she reminds me. She's an empath. She is so sympathetic and empathetic to people and causes and everything, way more than me. I'm a bit very factual and cold-hearted on certain issues. I'm black and white. And so for her, when she realizes that like you were just saying, from the press to certain government institutions, people, whatever that we used to either look up to, believe in, and trust, and now all that comes crumbling down, that can be pretty, as you just said, Brandon, depressing, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and look, I'm actually going to disagree with you here and say I'm very jealous of people who like just go through life not paying attention. I am so jealous of those people. There are so many people in this world who don't know they don't know who the president is. They don't know who got elected. They're not paying attention to.
They don't care.
And they're so happy.
I know.
They're so happy.
I know. I hear you.
It's all of us schlubs who are tapped into this. Can we swear on the show?
Yeah, say
this. That we're like suicidal and miserable all the time. I mean, I'm just like, I hate that I care about this stuff. I hate it.
No, but we
it's
need patriots to care. Because look, if you didn't have, because Donald Trump's one guy, he came down the escalator, he fired up millions, but not half the country yet, till we all realized what you realized when you saw that the media lies, when you saw that both parties were a freaking uniparty screwing us, we the people, that they're not working for us anymore, but for them, their interest and special interests. You woke up to all that, and if we didn't have millions of freaking patriots, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We would have cackling Kamala, we would have socialism reigning around this effing country, and it would be a hole. So we need you and others to wake the hell up, and we all have to have that burden of trying to wake up more of the sheeple out there. So get us to the walkaway where you started waking up millions of liberals.
Yeah, so the reason why I started Walkaway is, again, lost more than like 90% of my friends. And so then I went into 2018, I had about like 10% of my friends left. And it just seemed like every time I opened my mouth on Facebook or something, another person was just like, I don't know what happened to you, man, but like, I can't be friends with you anymore. I felt like literally every time I spoke up, it was just like, it was giving me almost like an anxiety complex.
I bet.
And so I thought to myself, but I also knew that I wasn't going to just shut up and stick my head in the sand and try to make everybody happy, because that's not my nature. By the way, can I pat you on
the back and say you didn't go back to your addictions? And a lot of people, when that kind of pressure and you're losing friends and family over decisions you've made, a lot of people go back to the bottle, to the pills, to the drugs. So God bless you, and I commend you, brother.
Well, thank
Keep
you.
going. You didn't go back.
I also didn't after January 6th. Okay,
yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Get us to the walkaway, and then we'll get up to J6.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm so sick of these people making me making me feel like I can't say what I want to say, or because I know I'm not doing anything wrong what I'm expressing or the questions I'm asking.
Right.
And so I was out jogging one day, and honestly, I always say it hit me like a thunderbolt, and I'm not kidding. I heard this voice in my head that said, once upon a time, I was a liberal. And I swear to God, that script like downloaded itself into my brain. And I got, again, very excited. I ran home and I wrote it all out. And I was like, this is exactly what I want to say. Like, because my thought was that I am going to go through from soup to nuts. I am going to go through the entire list of everything that's wrong with liberalism and the Democratic Party. And then whoever's left in my life who has a problem with it, it'll alienate those people. Like, let's do a purge of whoever's left, because I want to know, like, anyone who's still on my social media is not going to keep pecking at me just for like saying what I'm saying or talking about this experience that I'm having. So when I created that script to make that video, it was initially literally just to put out like on my own, to my 500 Facebook friends. That's what I was originally going to do. But after I wrote it and I read it to a couple of my friends, my new conservative friends I was making, they were like, dude, this is amazing. This is so awesome. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something bigger here, and like maybe there are other people in this country who are going through the same thing I'm going through. And I thought, what a shame it is that there's not a community or network for people like me who have lost almost everything because I walked away from the Democratic Party, that we can't come together and find each other.
Yeah.
And I'd already written that script, and at the end of the script, it said, so I'm walking away, and I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away. And I was like,
wow.
that's it.
That's the video that I saw.
Yeah.
And we started having him on back in 2020 when I launched my show here in September 14th. And then, of course, we'll get to J6 and what happened to him. So I was already having him on the show before J6 because I think it was Peyton. Somebody on my team brought me that video that you can roll it again, Jared. We just showed the video of you walking up, saying what you say, and then telling everybody to walk away. And I saw that, and I told my team at Real America, I'm like, get that guy on the show. That's awesome. Are you kidding me? This is an openly gay New Yorker man who's coming out for not only Trump, but coming out for the country and our movement, but telling people, here's how bat crazy the liberal Democrat Party is, and you should walk away, and I'm the example. See, I can't do that. I can't tell people to walk away because I was never in it. He was in it.
You know what I really want to know? Have any of the people who just isolated you, people who, former friends, have any of them come back to you and say, like, the last 2 to 3 years?
Some of them had to wake up.
Right? Some of them have had
They
to
had
say,
to.
You know what? I think you were right, and I'm sorry.
Oh, I bet so.
So I get that question a lot, and the truth is, maybe I can think of one.
Oh, wow.
And she hasn't fully walked away from she went through her own nightmare experience with the government and stuff over the last few years. Okay. She was a staunch, like Obama campaign fundraiser, all that stuff.
But those are your close inner circle that haven't come around. But talk about, because I want the positivity here of what the walkaway movement has done for this country. Before J6 and they screwed you with your followers and locked your accounts and everything else, you had amassed a massive following. And I would think you probably got, if not hundreds of thousands, millions to walk away. Again, these weren't your close inner circle friends who were like, screw you, Brandon, I'm talking to you again. But you got a lot of Democrats to walk away. I've been to events where he's given a speech, and there's thousands in the crowd, and almost all of them, they're not conservatives coming to listen to him. They're coming up to me, recognizing me, talking to me, going, I used to be a Democrat. I used to be independent. I used to not even be involved in politics. Then I saw Brandon Straka speak, and I came over. And I was like, wow, awesome.
Amazing.
Love it.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, so I started Walkaway when I put that video out, May of 2018, and by the end of 2018, Walkaway had grown to about 250,000 people had joined, and we had at that point thousands of videos and written testimonials, people sharing their stories with us about how they were walking away. Then by the end of 2020, so we were about 2.5 years old by the end of 2020.
When we met?
We had grown to 511,000 people who had joined the movement.
To 500,000 in a couple of years. How about that?
Tens of thousands of videos and written testimonials. Wow. And then on January 8th of 2021, Facebook banned the Walkaway campaign 2 days after January 6th.
You're kidding.
After he got arrested for doing nothing, which they didn't arrest him right there on the spot. It was later, and he'll tell us the story how they came and got him. But he wasn't even on the side where the staged and pushed violence occurred by the seedy people that were there that day, because I firmly believe you had rats in the mix, BLM, Antifa, government plants. We all know it. Anywho, we don't have time to go into all that. But you can tell them where you were, what the government tried to do to you under the Biden regime, simply because you were there that day making a video on the other side of the hill.
Yeah, and I want to make clear to people too that when I just said that Facebook banned Walkaway, it actually had nothing to, because I didn't get arrested until like 2.5 weeks after Facebook banned the group.
Wait,
At that point,
Oh yeah, they banned him 2 days after because of what happened on the 6th and something he was saying. So Facebook took him down. The government didn't come for him for like 2-3 weeks later in the late January.
I don't understand that at all.
Oh, of course you do. Come on.
Well, yeah,
Zuckerberg wanted to censor it. The government told him to.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So what they did was they used January 6th as the excuse to start taking down accounts that were in opposition to their belief system. Basically, that was also the same day they banned President Trump, January 8th. So they banned President Trump on the 8th. They banned the entire Walkaway campaign on the 8th, and all, like hundreds of thousands of other.
And this wasn't like you got
accounts.
silenced and you could come back years later. They took everything away from you. You had to start from scratch, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, and we never violated any of their terms of service. Walkaway was one of the most well-moderated groups. We never engaged in any violent talk or activity, nothing like that.
Not. I know you didn't.
So 2.5 weeks after January 6th, on the morning of Monday, January 25th, I woke up at dawn to a team of FBI agents in tactical gear storming my apartment, getting me out of bed, putting me in handcuffs, and telling me that
like he's a hard criminal. He's got the video evidence of where he was that day. It's BS.
And
wow.
Keep going. Sorry.
Please.
I get so pissed when I hear the story.
And telling me that I'm facing multiple felony charges for what I did on January 6th. And I very reflexively said, felonies? I didn't even commit any crimes. And the lead agent said, oh, I saw your video. I saw what you did. So just so you understand, on January 6th, I was asked to be a speaker at a permitted event on Capitol grounds. And the plan, as it was told to me, was that President Trump was going to speak at the Ellipse and that there was going to be a march from the Ellipse to the Capitol.
Yep.
And then there were going to be dozens and dozens of people speaking I was one of them. Dr. Simone Gold was another. Members of Congress. There were a lot of people scheduled to speak at this event. So after Trump spoke, I took the metro from the Ellipse over to the Capitol. But when I got off of the metro and I was walking onto Capitol grounds, people started telling me something's going on and people are going inside the building. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I turned on my camera and I started shooting a video. And I walked up to the Capitol. Now, it's really, really important to know, I was on the east side of the building, and there were, I don't mean few, I mean 0 police officers. There was not one single police officer on the east side of the building. There were no closed barricades. There was, so I literally just walked up the sidewalk to the Capitol. Just the sidewalk was open. So when I got to the Capitol, there was a crowd of several hundred people gathered around on the stairs. And I walked up to the top of the stairs. And when I got to the top of the stairs, the doors of the Capitol were open. I stood outside the Capitol for 8 minutes shooting a video. And after 8 minutes, a man came out of the building, got on a bullhorn, said they've cleared Congress. Everyone's left the building. Move out, move out. And I immediately turned around, walked back down the stairs. And then I stayed on the outer grounds for about 30 more minutes, and I shot 13 more videos doing interviews with people on the Capitol grounds. And then I took that first video that I shot where I walked up to the Capitol and up the stairs, and I uploaded it to Twitter. And I basically said, like, this is what I saw today at the Capitol. So I never entered the Capitol on January 6th. I didn't engage in any violence, vandalism, theft, or destruction. And I didn't even witness any. No one around me was breaking windows.
Side. January 6th was a setup, and they went after political people they hated and made them prisoners. And that's what they did to my friend Brandon. So anybody watching this podcast, whoever wants to question J6, just listen to one story, if you will. And I'm not trying to excuse anybody that did commit violence that day, because yes, there were a couple, and I mean a couple, MAGA folks who got caught up in the violence and did do violence that day. So I will never excuse them. I will condemn them. However, when you know that it was a setup, They lured y'all in, and then they had agitators in the front with the masks on and the helmets acting like MAGA when they were freaking either plants from the FBI or Antifa or BLM. I will excuse some of the folks who then walked in or did stuff as long as they didn't do violence. Brandon was on the opposite freaking side and uploaded a peaceful video about what he was seeing, and then the FBI storms his freaking house 2 weeks later. This is what Democrat socialist rule would have come to in this country if we'd had Kamala Harris, where they can kick an innocent man's door in and say, you're coming with us. We're going to put you in the gulag because you posted a video. He posted a video, folks. Anyway, go on, Brandon.
Yeah, well, yeah, and
Pisses me off, sorry.
No, I understand. Well, so you're in this moment. So they're showing up at your doorstep, and they tell you.
No, they're in my house.
And
they're in my apartment.
So what happened after that? What's the play by play? What happens?
So a team of agents came into my apartment and began stripping it of my computers, my phones, my hard drives, my thumb drives, my camera equipment, clothing, while two more agents. So I had my hands cuffed behind my back.
They show you a warrant, by the way?
I'm sure that they did. Okay. I'm sure that they did.
So they had a corrupt judge do a warrant. Keep going. Just want to clarify, corrupt judges.
But I do remember they sat me down on my couch at one point, and they said, well, we want to ask you some questions. I don't know if he said about January, we want to ask you some questions. I remember I said, well, I can't answer any questions without an attorney. And
Smart.
he said to me, so you're refusing to cooperate? And I said,
oh, you son of a...
I said, no. I said, I'm more than happy to cooperate with you, but I need to have an attorney present while I do it.
Like you're allowed.
And so he said, well, okay, in that case, there's nothing left to do, but off to jail we go. And so they paraded me through my apartment building, took me downstairs, put me in a black car, and drove me to jail.
Right. But Trump and ICE right now are the Gestapo Nazis. Right, getting rid of illegal aliens. But an American citizen posting a frickin' peaceful video has guys show up in black SUVs, cuff him and take him away. And you think that Trump's the bad guy? For you folks out there right now about the ICE stuff, get a brain, do some research, listen to Brandon's story.
That's the whole thing. I mean, I would say everything that when Trump got elected and I was crying and freaking out, everything that I was afraid that was going to happen to me under Trump ended up happening to me under Biden.
You're a Democrat. Just re-solidified your energy, right, to walk away even stronger, because it just proved your point that that party is bat-you-know-what crazy, because they're the ones that acted like Nazis and showed up and took an innocent man to jail.
Yeah. Well, we're past crazy at this point. This is dystopian. This is like being inside of 1984. No. I mean, this is like Soviet Union level kind of police state tactics.
Let me pivot real quick,
because I
see we're getting close to an hour, and I still got to ask him about what he's doing now in New York City, because I want to get that in before we're out of time, because I am worried about a man who is running in New York City for mayor who would destroy that city even worse than it already has been under the last few leaders. And everybody knows who I'm talking about. Zoran Mamdani. I can't stand this guy. I think he is bad news all the way around. Brandon has a much sweeter, nicer approach to convince New Yorkers, especially the Democrats there, not to vote for this clown. So I want to pivot to that before we lose you, Brandon, and run out of time, and talk about an event you got coming up and why you're so passionate about trying to save the city you now once again live in, New York City, from this socialist, Marxist radical. But that's what he is.
Right. Well, so I ended up actually getting trapped sorry, I don't mean to use that word, but I didn't mean to stay in Nebraska for 4 years. That's where the FBI arrested me. And so I got put on federal supervision in Nebraska for 4 years. And so now once I got pardoned by President Trump, then that finally lifted the punishment that I had from January 6th, that federal supervision. So what I've decided is to move back to New York City, which I've just done this last week, because I really feel like it is a calling on my life to come back and fight for the city that I love so much.
Good for you.
And it's not just fighting for New York. I think we're fighting for the country as a whole, because I really believe that if we normalize Democrat socialism anywhere in this country, I do believe it will spread like a cancer throughout our society into states like California and Hawaii and Washington State in the Northeast. But then we'll find it in blue cities and states all across the country. And this is a door that I just do not want open. And we're this close to embracing a socialist state in the city of New York. So I have come back to fight against Zoran Mamdani, and I'm calling upon all people whether you're a moderate Democrat, an independent, a libertarian, a Republican, I don't care if you love Trump or don't love Trump. I just want to bring people together to unify, to say we must fight against democratic socialism and that we cannot embrace this philosophy in New York City, because it will be the destruction of our great city and I think the country as a whole. And one of the first things we're doing is about a week from now, a week from this Sunday, July 27th, at 1 p.m. is the first of what will be many events that I'm going to do around the city. This is the Rally Against Democratic Socialism. We start at 1 o'clock in Union Square. That Sunday, July 27th. I want to call all people all across the political spectrum to come and join me at this rally to help fight against democratic socialism. You can go to walkawaycampaign.com/events to get more information. We'd love it if people would register. You don't have to, but the reason I want people to register is because we're going to be doing more and more and more of these events throughout the year, and I want to keep in touch and build an army of people that are going to fight against this. And I also want to be canvassing boroughs, because we've got to get out there and start knocking on doors and having conversations with Black New Yorkers, Hispanic New Yorkers, Gen Z New Yorkers, all these people who are being seduced and manipulated into believing that the answers to their problems are that the government should be in control of their housing, their groceries, their electricity, their power. I mean, this guy.
What did Reagan say? What's those famous 9 words? Oh, I'm here with the government. I'm here to help, something like that. That's what he said, right?
I think he said something even better. The government doesn't solve problems; it subsidizes problems.
That's a good one too. Yeah. See, Brandon, and that's 1 full hour, and look at that culmination. I learned a bunch more about my friend and his background and history and how he came to be. I didn't know a lot of those things about Nebraska and your addictions and stuff, so thank you for sharing those personal things. But also, I think this was a beautiful buildup to show, just using Brandon's real life story, right, of coming out, and I don't mean gay, straight, I mean coming out as a Democrat turned MAGA guy, and then creating a movement, getting arrested, thrown in jail, recreating that movement, and now continuing to fight this ridiculous radical party. And so thank you, Brandon. And I wish I could be there on the 27th. I got to be out here in Cali for something else on the 26th. But God bless you. One more time before we say goodbye to you, hit the website, because I want people to go and not only sign up for this event on Sunday, July 27th, but just sign up and follow what Brandon and the Walkaway movement does. These are former Democrats or people never involved in politics that are now following and involved in saving our nation, like Brandon. And again, he comes with experience, folks. Go ahead, Brandon. Final word.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I'll just reiterate again. Sunday, July 27th at 1 o'clock in Union Square. People can go to walkawaycampaign.com/events to register, to donate. For the love of God, please help us as we do these events financially, if you can. Or if you'd like to volunteer, as we're going to be beginning this mass canvassing effort between now and November all over the city. Walkawaycampaign.com/events. Please sign up and please come out and support, because this is very, very important.
Thank you, brother. Do me a favor, will you? Go on Riley's show. He's never done your talk show, right?
Never.
Okay, I'll get you guys connected.
I'd love to.
Yeah, do Riley's show as well. His is on before mine.
I'd love to.
Network. Will you? All right, appreciate you. Brandon Straka, everybody, founder of the Walkaway movement. See, you can walk away, and you'll have a better life.
That's right. That's right. A sobering life.
Yes. An exhilarating life.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yep,
great to be here. Thank you.
Yep. Cool cat.
Yeah.
Told you, what a story, right?
Yes.
About 50% of that stuff I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like him and I have chatted before backstage at events when we've been speaking and whatnot, his events or other events. I didn't know about the addictions. I didn't know about the whole Nebraska thing and the family. I just knew, openly gay conservative who used to be a liberal and then created this movement. And I saw the videos and I saw the numbers and I went, wow, this guy's making a real difference. And so put aside folks that are going to give me crap, put aside whether you don't like his lifestyle choice, and look at what the man is doing for this nation. And now his beloved New York City, which he finally got to move back to after the Biden regime had him arrested, incarcerated, and on probation, having to live in Nebraska for the last 4 years when he should have been able to do whatever the hell he wants as an American.
Yeah. Look,
wrongful incarceration.
It's a half joke, but once he's done saving New York, I hope he comes to California because this is a beautiful place and it's worth fighting for, and we need a lot more of that kind of.
He's right. He'll come out here. Look, when Newsom leaves, who's going to run out here? We're going to get a radical socialist Democrat piece of trash Marxist that wants to ruin California already. I mean, it's already messed up. But look at New York City. Don't think it'll stop there, like he said.
That's right.
And I'd like to add one more point I forgot to throw in with him. Not only is this guy a Marxist, I'm going to call him a communist. He wants free grocery stores, free housing, all this crap in New York, just free.
The guy wants to abolish private property. There's videos of him talking about that.
This guy and his supporters are also radical Islamic. I won't call him jihadists, but I'm sure he's got some buddies in his camp that would like to pull some jihads, because I've seen some folks in pictures with him and that are bragging him up and supporting him, like some of these imams or whatever they're called, that preach in their mosque in this country, that are calling down with America, down with Israel, from our soil, folks. These are people in our country. They're saying it in Minneapolis. They're saying it in Dearborn, Michigan. They're saying it in New York City. They're saying it down in Florida, in their mosques, that they hate this country. Now, again, you're allowed to say whatever the hell you want in this country. But if you're calling for death to America and you want to do jihads, and now you're supporting a clown that backs this crap up, that guy should never, ever be allowed to serve in any office. I wouldn't want him on a freaking school board. I wouldn't want him on trash detail.
Well, I mean, respectfully, I'd like to see him deported. But
Trump even made that joke the other day when somebody asked about him. I think, didn't he say that? Like, or somebody said maybe we should deport his ass. Not a bad idea. Anyway.
No, it's not. Yeah. But
Let's wrap up.
That was amazing, though. Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yes.
Good guy. Get him on the show.
Will do. And speaking of, should we talk about the lineup?
Let's wrap it up.
Yep.
Let's wrap it up.
All right, so of course this episode will drop this weekend, and it will go to air, and it'll be available on X, Truth Social, Facebook, I believe. So like, retweet, share with your friends
YouTube,
and
Rumble, we
family.
throw it out there, I think, too, right?
Yes.
On YouTube and Rumble.
All
That's
the
where you get the
socials.
full versions. And then there's clips on X and the other ones driving you to YouTube and Rumble to watch the full episode.
Yes.
Always got to talk about the homepage, OANN. Don't forget that second N. People are always messaging me, yelling, I can't find you. It's two N's. OANN, OneAmericaNewsNetwork.com. You can check out the lineup there. You can sign up for the app. We keep getting more carriers. We just launched the last week or two, I think we got on Charter Spectrum, right? We're channel 223. 223.
Yes.
And there's more coming. There's a lot more coming. So OAN is back. We're going to be bigger and better than when the Democrats tried to censor us and shut us down 3 years ago. If you'd like to advertise, get a hold of us here. You can log on to OANN.com, find the Herring family, call Charles, our CEO, advertise with us. This is a mom and pop operation that does not lie to you. And I can tell you this is someone who's been in journalism for 33 years. And you heard what Brandon said tonight about the fake news. That's what turned him. That's what woke him up to become awake, not woke, was realizing that the media lies to you. And I sat there dormant and quiet, biting my tongue for too damn long. And I'm so glad that 5 years ago, I came down here where I can tell the frickin' truth.
Talk about liberation, really.
Yeah.
Seriously.
What he said.
Yeah, incredible.
Nice, tie it all in.
And then, of course, our primetime lineup every night. We got 4 amazing talk shows.
You first.
Leading off with Real Story with Riley Lewis. Then we got an hour of news, of course.
Yep, with Mike
18
Deneau.
hours of live news with the amazing Mike Deneau.
I've known Mike for a long time. Him and I did news in Palm Springs like 22 years ago.
That's right.
I've known him a long time.
Then we got Real America with Dan Ball. Then we got the Matt Gaetz Show.
Matt
Another
Gaetz
amazing
Show.
And, of course, Fine Point with Chanel Rion.
Love Chanel.
We got to have Chanel on the show.
What a great investigation. You know what? Let's ask her. Maybe next week.
Please, yeah, let's do that.
She can fill an hour. She got a lot to say.
Oh, yeah. And
don't forget, she's the one that broke the laptop story for us. We sent her over there, and I mean, she's been a great journalist for us, now turned talk show host. She's one of our anchor women here at OAN. We love Chanel as well. And before we say goodnight, I got to thank Grunt Style Foundation. Follow them. Buy some merch. They have awesome merch. All of this stuff helps to go. So you have the Grunt Style company that does their merch, but then there's the Grunt Style Foundation, the charity angle and arm. And so everything you buy or donate goes into the foundation that helps veterans. And you know, that's my biggest thing, folks. We treat our veterans not like we should. Let's put it that way. I'll keep it simple since we got to wrap it up. So if you want to help out, log on, learn more about what Grunt Style Foundation does. And thanks to the guys over at Grunt Style for always supporting the Anchormen podcast. We love it. Are we done? I think we're done.
I think that's a
We're
wrap.
going way past an hour again. I'm telling you, we gotta bust the boss's chops about getting 2 hours for this show because Brandon had way more to say.
Oh, I know. We scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much we didn't get to cover. But maybe a chance to bring him back then. We'll have him on the shows. Of course, he's on the network all the time. And if you have guest ideas, by the way, drop comments, suggestions. We're always looking for feedback and for guest ideas. You know, who do you want to hear from? just let us know.
Yeah, I saw a couple last week. They're like getting Megyn Kelly. I've been trying to get hold of Megs.
She's great.
Yeah,
Nice.
throw out those suggestions because most likely we can get some of those people you want. And we want to bring the guests that you'd like, but we're also hoping to introduce you to some new folks that we know.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Anchorman Podcast. We'll see you next Friday night.
Want to see more great videos like this? Click on the link below to subscribe to OAN Live and watch Dan Ball's Real America and The Matt Gaetz Show on Dish Channel 212. Tune in, subscribe, and watch today.